Hello friends, welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with my end of the year 2021 reading stats. You're seeing it in 2022, but you know what I mean. Let's jump right into it. Alright friends, as per always, we have a little bit of a disparity between my stats that I've kept for myself versus StoryGraph. Again, I think because I did not count some things officially, but we're going to jump right in and I'm going to tell you how I did for 2021. Was it as much as I normally read in general? No, it was not. I had probably my lowest reading year in a very long time. However, I published a book and wrote 2 more in 2021, so I am not going to be mad at myself for reading under 80 books. I think that's perfectly justifiable. I have on my personal spreadsheet 72 books. StoryGraph has me at 77. Do I know the difference? Yes. I don't think I put some DNFs on my other spreadsheet that I think ended up on this one. I'm going to start with my own personal stats that I have for myself that I keep on my spreadsheet because I think it's a little bit more accurate, but I will share some of the stats from StoryGraph because I love their statistics and I do love their graphs. So I will probably screenshot those and put them up into the video as well so that you could see those. Let's start off with just in general what I thought about my reading year. I was really happy with my reading year. It was not, again, a high number, but I really focused on getting to books that I thought I was going to love, which really helped with my ratings. I also was very quick to DNF if something was not working for me, which again really helped with my mental health and being able to not hit a reading slump while working that hard. Ratings wise, I had 23 5-star books, 18 4-star books, 20 3-star books, 9 2-star books, 2 1-star books, and 7 DNFs. I had 8 sci-fi, 23 fantasy. I had 1 graphic novel. I had 20 contemporary, 4 nonfiction, 7 thriller. I had 1 historical fiction, 8 erotica, and 6 horror. I read 46 of them in physical form. I read 26 of them in ebook and 7 in audio. I reread 3 books, which I think is wrong because I reread Bonnie Sue Hitchcock, House of Leaves, and 2 Sanderson, so that one is definitely incorrect. New to me authors. I read 34 new to me authors, 7 debut authors, and 38 authors that were known to me. 19 of those were own voices, and they were diverse by race, sexuality, disability, chronic illness, mental health, and religion. The highest of those being sexuality, and then race coming in second to that. I buddy read 10 books. I did 3 readathons, which had to have been in January, February, and then my regular reads were 64. Which would put me at 77 books, which is what StoryGraph has me at, so that's confusing to me, but I don't really know. I kept 47 of the books that I read. I unhauled 31 of them. Very happy with that number. I want them gone if I am not enjoying them. I read 31 YA books. I read 46 adult books and 2 middle grade. Ashley Herring Blake and Christina's Ghost, I believe. 33 of them I purchased new. 16 I read off my shelf. 4 I got from the library. 6 came in a book box, 16 were ARCs, 1 I read on my e-reader, and 2 were gifted to me. I read 19 books that were part of a series, 9 of them were starts, 6 of them were continuations, and 3 of them were series ends. Some of them I don't think I was sure about, because that's not 19 books. Anyway, I had 12 books from 2019, 4 books from 2018, I had 10 books from 2020, 36 books from 2021, no books from next year. Those tend to be my stats here at my what I track kind of a situation. So the majority of what I read was fantasy, 23 fantasy, and then 20 contemporary. So that was still my main, which is surprising to me. Again, a lot more adult than YA. Oh, annotated. I annotated the majority of my books, which makes me very, very happy. I annotated 60 of the books that I read. What I did not annotate was mostly ebooks or audiobooks. I didn't tend to. My series TBR, I wanted to get to the Imperium trilogy by Claire Legrand. I did not. The Girl in the Tower series, I did not. Or Girl in the Tower, which is the Winter trilogy, I forget. Skyward I did continue. Parasitology I did continue. And then I unhauled. And A Fierce So Fierce and Broken I unhauled. My unread shelf has gone down a lot, but not nearly enough. In terms of received books, I stopped tracking at a certain point, which is not great. When I stopped tracking, I had 21 books for a total of $298 in value. I don't remember exactly. And there's definitely, yeah, there's 4 more on here that I did not put a value for. And there's definitely more than that that came from Unplugged. So the value for that is going to be way over $300. In terms of purchase books, I, again, stopped tracking after a certain point, but I bought 32 books for $349.12. I had 2 sci-fi, 11 fantasy, that was a lot of Sanderson, some thrillers, some romances, some horrors. I bought some ebooks, mostly paperbacks, 10, 12 books on here without prices. So I definitely bought a lot more than that, because the last one I have on here that I bought was Medusa, and I've definitely bought since then, and none of them have prices. So did I keep track of that? No. And I think, again, in terms of the overwhelmed book tag that I just did, a lot of this is stuff I would not be tracking if I was not doing BookTube. It's just not something that I obviously care to track, or else I would have tracked it a lot closer. It is something that takes away time from writing and from other things that I have to do, which makes it really difficult for me to justify because, again, I have other priorities. So I do not think I'm going to be keeping track of my own books in my own spreadsheet next year. I believe I will only be using StoryGraph and letting them kind of dictate what I read and when, and what my ratings are, all of that kind of stuff, because StoryGraph does a great job of keeping track of my stats. So according to StoryGraph, I read 77 books for 25,723 pages. So in terms of mood, I love that they track mood. Dark books were my highest read at 34, followed by emotional at 29, adventurous at 28, mysterious at 24, tense at 15, reflective at 14, lighthearted at 9. I'm not surprised. Challenging at 6, funny at 4, informative at 3, hopeful at 3, and sad at 1, and inspiring at 1. In terms of pacing, I read 12 slow books, I read 29 medium-paced books, and then 36 fast-paced books. In terms of page numbers, I read 28 that were less than 300 pages, I read 43 that were between 300 and 499, and then 6 tomes, which were 500 plus pages. I read 4 nonfiction and 72 fiction. Again, that's weird because that's not 77 books, but you know, I've stopped understanding anything. It says I read 26 young adult books, 23 fantasy, 18 romance, 13 thrillers, 12 mysteries, 11 contemporaries, 10 LGBTQ, 8 science fiction, 8 horror, 5 erotica, 4 historical, 3 short stories. I read 3 literary, 3 crime, 2 on race, 1 middle grade, 1 dystopian, 1 classic, 1 self-help, 1 memoir, 1 graphic novel, 1 comic, and 1 business. Again, these are based on their community kind of guidelines. I don't really know how those all come together or what books would have been included in that. My most read authors are Brandon Sanderson at 7 books, and then Kate Alice Marshall at 2, Lily Archer at 2, Crystal Sutherland at 2, Dana Izali, Smutty Smuts at 2, Bonnie Sue Hitchcock at 2, Becky Chambers at 2. In terms of numbers of book read, 12 books in January, 11 in February, I read 11 in March, and then 2 in April, and then 4 in May, 3 in June, 5 in July, 4 in August, and then 5 in September, 6 in October, November I read 3, and then December I read 11. So you can see the ebb and flow of when I was working on A Curse in Ash, when I was publishing A Curse in Ash, and now that I have a little bit of downtime while I'm getting ready for book 2. Yeah, no. I didn't rate 9 books. I had 1 1-star, 1 1.5. I had 1 2-star. I had 2 2.5. I had 11 3-star. 1 that was 3.25. 4 that were 3.5, 1 that was 3.75, 8 4.0, 2 4.25, 2 4.5, 1 4.75, and 23 5-star reads for an average rating of 3.58. I'm not mad at that, and that's based on 67 reviews. I did not review everything, I did not rate everything. In terms of my ratings per type of book, my funny books were an average rating of 5. My inspiring books were an average rating of 5. My hopeful were an average rating of 4.67. Informative at 4.5. Lighthearted at 3.92. Emotional at 3.9. Tense at 3.85. Adventurous were typically rated 3.76. I had reflective at 3.75. Dark at 3.5, which makes sense because my thrillers are not always 5-star reads. Challenging at 3.08. Mysterious at 3.01. Sad at 3 stars. My nonfiction typically was 4.5, while my nonfiction was 3.51. LGBTQ was 4.15 on average. Horror was 3.89 on average. Crime was 3.75 on average. My fantasy was 3.61 on average, while my contemporary was 3.56 on average. Lower, my thrillers were 2.96. Again, I don't rate those very high very often, so that is good to know. That is a plus rating, so I was able to get that because I am a plus member of StoryGraph, meaning I pay and I support them. And I think that is going to be everything for my reading. So I can compare 2 different time periods. I can compare 2020, very interesting. That's my stats. Again, I read a whole lot less. I read under 80 books, which is new for me. That's not something that I've done before. I typically read way more than that. That's all right. I'm going to have a whole other video on my goals for 2022, both writing and reading, so that you guys have an idea of what's in store for my channel for next year. Stay tuned for that. I also have a video on my doth piercing coming up soon because I posted about it on Instagram and a lot of you were interested. So stay tuned for those 2 videos. That's going to be it for right now for me, for my stats. If there's anything that you have a specific question on, go ahead and let me know. Make sure you click that subscribe button so you know what's going on, that notification bell so you know when I put out new videos. Thank you for joining me for my look back at 2021. It was an amazing year. Maybe not always for reading, but an amazing year nonetheless, and I'm very, very proud to have put that book out. And if that's the reason I read less, then I'm okay with that too. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like I said, give me a big thumbs up, click subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, friends.